So being born and raised in Niagara Falls, I had a very, very regular, normal childhood, you know what I mean? Like, it was awesome, just kind of did everything that most kids do, played a lot of sports and stuff like that. Was never really into that much music when I was a kid. Like, I wasn't passionate about it. It was just kind of like in the background of my life at the time. It's a small city, and it just, because of touring, it made me realize just how small it is, and like, it's just, there's not much to do there, I feel like, but it's been good for me, especially as a producer, because there's not that many distractions for me, so I get to like sit at home and actually work on music, basically. It gives me an excuse to like not be distracted by anything. I never really found that I was inspired by my city particularly. However, an hour and a half away drive is Toronto, and I would pretty much make trips out there by myself a lot of the time, because I was like obsessed with dance music before I started producing it, obviously, right? And I was like going to all these shows. I loved artists like deadmau5, Porter Robinson, Excision, a bunch of different artists, and I'd go out of my way, even like I said, by myself, just to see these shows. And it would be awesome. And a lot of the time, like, I would get I would just fall more in love with music every time I went to a show, you know? But the artist that inspired me over anyone, and I say this in every interview, is by far deadmau5. And it's kind of interesting because my sound now, what it's kind of been evolving into, it doesn't really sound like deadmau5 at all. I feel like I still am super inspired by him. It's kind of interesting. Like I never tried to copy anybody's sound ever. That was never my intention. If anything, like I was inspired by the feeling that their music gave me, and I was inspired by that feeling. So naturally, I make music, I guess, with that same kind of feel or vibe. It's dark. I think a lot of deadmau5 stuff is pretty dark vibe too. This whole subject to me is like I feel like there's just so many different things that could be said about it, you know? I don't really know why exactly the lineups are like that. I'm curious if it's by human nature that men just naturally are more into like technical type production stuff versus women. You know, like plumbing and electricians and that kind of work. Yeah. It's mainly male dominated, right? And so like, why aren't there more women in that field? So I think like some things in life, I think may just have naturally shifted that way. Or maybe parents have raised their kids thinking, you're a male, so you should do this, or you're a woman, so you should do that. My parents, I don't know, maybe this might be a main reason for why I am the way I am today, but my parents never made me do certain things because I'm a girl. It's honestly surreal, and like I release music on Skrillex's label too, and he hasn't been my musical inspiration, Skrillex, but he's an inspiration of mine in a whole other way. Like just how much he does for the industry, how nice he is, how everyone you talk to will only have good things to say about him, and that's kind of what I want to be like as a person in the industry too, you know. And to be releasing on both their labels alongside like being on this tour and just everything that's going on, it's all just like mind blowing. It happens sometimes. I'll be playing shows and all I hear in the crowd, it's just so fucking hot. Like I hear that in the crowd, and I think it's like okay, like it's nice, it's flattering, but I gotta say like I definitely would much prefer them to come to my shows from my production that I've created and to feel the vibe that I've created with my music. But in the end, I know that like people are gonna be attracted to different things, and it's gonna happen either way. But yeah, I think overall, like you said, people like, you know, Nervo and like the super like appealing people or whatever, like they're probably gonna get more attention because, you know, there's a bunch of guys in the world that will pay tickets just to go see them on the stage. There's a couple artists that I super look up to, and that's, like I said, deadmau5, Eric Prydz, Bass Nectar, and Gesaffelstein. They all leave kind of a similar legacy in my opinion. And the thing about them is that they all have created their own sound. Everybody knows them for their own sound. They come to their shows to hear their music because they play pretty much 100% their own music, with the exception, you know, mixing it up sometimes. But I want to be like that. I want to have my own vibe, which I already definitely have going. Right now, when I perform, I pretty much, like if I'm playing for an hour, I pretty much play only my own music, right? And because that's been my goal since day one, you know? I wanted to get known for my production.
You know,